The life of Rudolph Valentino, the man with the incredibly long birth name Rodolfo Alfonso Raffaello, Pier Filiberto Guglielmi di Valentina d'Antonguola, was a multifaceted painting where light and shadow intertwined. Behind the adoration, behind the fame, lay a string of scandals, controversies, and personal traumas, creating a harsh contrast to the image he portrayed on screen. Born in 1895 in the town of Castellaneta, Apulia, Italy, Valentino seemed destined for a life full of drama and complexity from the very beginning. But perhaps the studios later wisely shortened it to Rudolph Valentino, a name easier to remember, easier to capture hearts. Even as a child, Valentino's striking looks drew attention. It was both a gift and a curse. His mother, who doted on and indulged him endlessly, showered this youngest son with special affection. This, consistent, sparked resentment from his father, a man who believed in traditional notions of masculinity. Can you imagine? A family home where young Valentino learned early on that beauty and charm could both elevate and isolate him. Tragedies strike Valentino's family very early, etching indelible scars. The death of his older sister in infancy cast a dark shadow over the family. And just a few years later, when Rudolph was only 11, the loss of his father left an unerasable mark. This loss not only robbed him of a figure paternal, but also pushes the family into financial hardship. Valentino's mother, however strong, struggled to provide stability for her children. It was these very things that forged in Valentino a burning desire to escape reality and create something for himself. And then at the age of 18, with little more than a dream and a restless spirit, Valentino set sail for America, landing at Ellis Island in 1913. A bold decision, a testament to his determination to forge a path far from his familiar Italian homeland. For a young man with limited resources and no clear direction, America promises endless possibilities, but also harbored challenges he could not yet imagine. His decision to leave Italy wasn't just about seeking fame. It was a quest for reinvention. In those early days wandering the streets of New York, Rudolph probably dreamed of becoming someone larger than life, someone who would be remembered far beyond the confines of his humble beginnings. Little did he know that the road to stardom would be paved with scandal, struggle, and heartache, shaping the man the world would one day idolize as the great lover. But before he could ascend to the heights of fame, Valentino had to confront the realities of his new life in America, a life where his looks could only get him so far, and where the true test of his character was just beginning. Rudolph Valentino's early years in America were everything but glamorous. Far from the image of a polished Hollywood star, his life was a chaotic mix of struggle, desperation, and scandal. Arriving in a country brimming with opportunity, he quickly discovered that the American dream often requires more than good looks and ambition. It demanded grit, and sometimes survival against all odds. Initially, Valentino found it nearly impossible to hold down steady work. With no professional skills, limited English, and a foreigner's unfamiliarity with the local culture, he was thrust into a harsh reality. Jobs came and went as quickly as they appeared, leaving him frequently homeless and hungry. For a time, Valentino was forced to beg for food, wandering the streets in search of anything that could help him survive another day. In a desperate bid to earn a living, Valentino turned to dancing in cabarets, working as a taxi dancer, a job that required charming women on the dance floor in exchange for payment. It was here that his natural charisma and mesmerizing presence began to shine, but not without consequence. While his exotic looks and smooth moves attracted admirers, they also invited trouble. One of his most scandalous entanglements was with Bianca de Sol, a socialite married to a wealthy businessman. This affair, though fleeting, had disastrous consequences. When Bianca's marriage unraveled, Valentino was swept into a storm of controversy. Public accusations painted him as a gigolo, a man who preyed on wealthy women for financial gain. The scandal escalated when a heated divorce trial brought their private lives into the public eye. Worse yet, Bianca later became embroiled in a murder case, further tarnishing Valentino's reputation by association. Fearing the fallout and longing for a fresh start, Valentino fled to the West Coast. It was a bold move, driven not just by a desire to escape scandal, but also by a need to reinvent himself. In California, he hoped to leave behind the chaos of his past and build a life defined by ambition rather than survival. Even before Rudolph Valentino became a household name, he had a knack for charming women. Back in his early days in Los Angeles, Valentino worked as a dance instructor. Not exactly a glamorous gig, but somehow he managed to attract a large following of wealthy older women who were more than happy to lend him their luxury cars and do him small favors. Almost like a real-life version of Dirty Dancing. Valentino might not have been famous yet, but his undeniable charisma and charm were already hard at work, setting the stage for his rise later on. Valentino's rise to stardom is a fascinating tale of ambition, talent, and the pitfalls of instant celebrity. Initially, he was often typecast in minor roles, exploiting his exotic appeal, an image shaped by Hollywood's obsession with the foreign and mysterious. However, even in those early appearances, audiences noted his mesmerizing presence, a quality that foreshadowed the superstar to come. In 1917, Rudolph Valentino's journey to fame began with humble steps. He joined a touring operetta troupe heading to Utah, but the group quickly disbanded. Undeterred, Valentino moved on to a production of Robinson Crusoe Jr. with Al Jolson's troupe, eventually making his way to Los Angeles in the fall of that year. He found a small role in the play Nobody Home in San Francisco. It was during his time in San Francisco that Valentino met actor Norman Carey, who saw potential in the young man and encouraged him to try his hand at the burgeoning world of silent film. Following Carey's advice, the two moved to Los Angeles and became roommates at the Alexandria Hotel. While adjusting to life in the entertainment capital, Valentino relied on his dancing skills, teaching dance and charming a growing fan base, particularly among older women. His clients were so smitten they often lent him their luxury cars, which added an air of sophistication to his budding persona. During this time, Valentino and Carey even attempted to enlist in the Canadian Air Force to fight in World War I, though this effort ultimately failed. With his dance career thriving, Valentino secured his own place on Sunset Boulevard and began pursuing his dream of becoming a movie star. His first break came as an extra in the film Alimony, followed by small parts in other productions. However, Hollywood's early casting norms posed a challenge for Valentino. Unlike the clean-cut, all-American male leads like Wallace Reed, Valentino's darker, exotic features often relegated him to roles as villains or gangsters. Despite these setbacks, Valentino's persistence paid off. By 1919, he had built a modest career with supporting roles. One of these was as a cabaret parasite in the drama Eyes of Youth, starring Clara Kimball Young. It was this role that caught the attention of screenwriter June Mathis, a pivotal moment that would set Valentino on the path to becoming one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. In late 1922, Rudolph Valentino's career took an interesting turn when he met George Ullman, the man who would become his manager and play a crucial role in shaping his public image. Ullman, who had previously worked for the Mineralava Beauty Clay Company, had a brilliant idea. Valentino, with his massive female fan base, was the perfect spokesperson for their products. The result was an incredibly successful tour, with Valentino and his wife, Natasha Rambova, performing in 88 cities across the United States and Canada. This wasn't just a promotional tour. It was a spectacular. Crowds flocked to see the star, and Valentino did not disappoint. He even became a judge for Mineralava-sponsored beauty contests, further solidifying his status as a cultural icon. His real breakthrough came with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. As it turned out, Metro was already looking for him. Screenwriter June Matisse was convinced he was perfect for the role of Julio Desnoyers, one of the film's lead characters. It was the role that would catapult Valentino to stardom, but not without a price. Although this film showcased Valentino's screen charisma, behind the scenes he struggled with a hostile director who neither trusted his abilities nor appreciated his unique look. This tension, coupled with the studio's unwillingness to pay him fairly, would become a recurring theme throughout his career. Valentino displayed both a fierce pride in his work and a strong desire for respect, making him extremely sensitive to even the slightest perceived slights. In 1921, everything changed with his starring role in The Sheik. Almost overnight, Valentino became a cultural phenomenon. He became the Latin lover, a romantic fantasy figure for moviegoers worldwide. Valentino's mesmerizing performance in The Sheik didn't just make him a star, it redefined the very word chic. Once a title of Arab nobility, by 1921 it had taken on a whole new meaning, symbolizing any man with irresistible charm and allure. Valentino's on-screen charisma was so powerful that it created a cultural ripple effect, changing not just perceptions, but also fashion trends. Men everywhere suddenly tried to emulate his signature look, the slick, heavily oiled hairstyle and suave demeanor that had audiences swooning. These copycats became so common that they earned their own nickname, albeit not a very flattering one, Vaselinos. It was a testament to Valentino's unmatched influence, proving that his appeal wasn't just confined to the screen, it had seeped into the very fabric of 1920s culture. Audiences lined up in droves to see his smoldering gaze and graceful on-screen manner, and soon he was among the most famous faces in Hollywood. The Sheik cemented his legacy as the defining heartthrob of the silent film era. However, Valentino's intense desire for recognition also contributed to conflict. Convinced of his star power, he demanded better roles and higher compensation, requests that often clashed with rigid studio rules and the studio's desire to typecast him in cliched, exotic lover roles. His frustration with typecasting led to public feuds, and he openly quarreled with executives who dismissed his aspirations as a diva attitude. While some called him spoiled, others pointed out the unfairness of an industry that pigeonholed his talent, refusing to grant him creative control or even fair payment for the success he brought to the box office. After months of legal battles stemming from Valentino's infamous strike, the fiery star fully embraced his inner diva. In a bold and rather audacious move, he penned an open letter to the American public, titled An Open Letter to the American People. In it, he vented about his supposedly pitifully low salary, $1,250 per week, a figure that, for context, was more than many Americans earned in an entire year. But Valentino's frustration wasn't just aimed at the studios. He also managed to alienate some of his closest allies. One of the most notable casualties was his friendship with June Matisse, the screenwriter who had discovered him and championed his career. Their once strong bond began to unravel when Valentino outright rejected a script Matisse had written for his upcoming film. Matisse, deeply hurt by his dismissal, severed ties with him and didn't speak to him for years. And while that might sound like the end of the drama, trust me, it was just the beginning. If you thought this was Valentino's way of settling the score, stick around, because the story takes an even more dramatic turn. Despite these challenges, Valentino's impact was undeniable. He set new standards for leading men by infusing his performances with emotional intensity, convincing vulnerability, and romantic appeal. His style influenced everything from men's hairstyles to how male protagonists were written in later decades. Even the controversies surrounding his pay disputes private life and temperamental reputation only heightened his mystique, keeping fans and reporters riveted. Ultimately, Valentino's story underscores the paradox of fame in early Hollywood. While global acclaim seemed to grant him power, the studio system's limitations kept him perpetually at odds with those in control. It's a testament to his enduring charm that a century later, film historians still cite Valentino as the epitome of silent-era glamour. A passionate artist caught between public adoration and industry constraints, forging a legend that continues to captivate audiences around the world. Rudolph Valentino did not receive any formal artistic awards during his lifetime, primarily because his career unfolded during the silent film era, early 1920s, a period when most modern awards like the Academy Awards, established in 1929, did not yet exist. However, Valentino's influence on cinema and popular culture was immense. He became a symbol of romanticism and exotic allure, leaving a lasting impact on the portrayal of male leads in Hollywood. Rudolph Valentino's private life was a saga of dramatic twists and relentless controversies, beginning with his ill-fated first marriage to Jean Acker. The brief and scandalous union was more of a charade than a love story. Acker, secretly a lesbian, married Valentino not out of passion but as a desperate escape from a tangled love triangle involving two other actresses. It was a decision she almost immediately regretted. By 1921, just months after it began, the couple divorced, marking the first public scandal in Valentino's tumultuous love life. Rudolph Valentino's second marriage to Natasha Rambova was a whirlwind of passion, drama, and eventual heartbreak. Rambova, a costume designer with an intense personality and strong creative vision, brought both inspiration and turbulence to Valentino's life. From the beginning, their union was fraught with scandal, including the shocking accusation of bigamy due to California laws requiring a one-year waiting period after a divorce before remarrying. Valentino's marriage to Rambova was initially deemed illegal, sparking a media frenzy and adding to his already colorful reputation. As one of the most iconic sex symbols of his time, Rudolph Valentino was adored by millions of fans, but not everyone was captivated by his charm. In fact, many American men took issue with his perceived effeminate masculinity, a term that would haunt him throughout his career. By 1926, Valentino's relentless work schedule and the constant pressure of fame had taken a severe toll. While promoting his latest projects, Valentino suddenly collapsed, shocking those around him. Doctors diagnosed him with perforated ulcers, a condition that would prove far more serious than anyone initially realized. Surgery was performed, but complications arose and a severe infection set in. And just days later, on August 23, 1926, Valentino passed away at the age of 31. His death sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, plunging his fans into collective mourning. Chaos erupted in the wake of his passing. Thousands flocked to his funeral in New York, creating scenes of hysteria and heartbreak. Women fainted, fans wept openly, and police struggled to maintain order amid the outpouring of grief. Even in death, Rudolph Valentino managed to stir up scandal, proving that his life and legacy were anything but ordinary. Pola Negri, a fellow star and rumored lover of Valentino, added an extra layer of controversy to the somber occasion. Negri's dramatic behavior at the funeral, including fainting spells and emotional declarations of undying love, captured the attention of the press. Some accuse her of using the tragedy as a publicity stunt, while others see her actions as a genuine display of grief. Either way, her presence added fuel to an already sensationalized event. Valentino's death did not end the scandals. His will leave Natasha Rambova just $1, a bitter conclusion to their relationship. His cultural impact persisted, involving fashion, masculinity, and even marketing, with products bearing his silhouette. Valentino remains an enduring figure in Hollywood history, remembered for both his magnetism and controversies. Thank you for joining us as we explore the highs and lows of Valentino's life. His story serves as a reminder that fame can mask deep flaws, and that even the brightest stars often cast the darkest shadows. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you really think of Rudolph Valentino? Let us know. See you in our next explorations.